everyone, how are you guys doing? I feel like it's been a while since I did just the morning oats by myself, so I'm pretty excited to be here. Also, look at the new shirt, super sweet, right? Okay, so I have my oats and I have my coffee. Now let's start the discussion. Today, I want to talk about something that I actually recently talked about on a Periscope session, and I asked the people, I was like, do you guys think I should make a video about this? And everyone resoundingly, they're like, yeah, you should. So just a disclaimer, this is gonna be, we're gonna go on a feels trip. A feels, F-E-E-L-S trip. Get that? I don't think I made that up, but I think it's clever. So we're gonna go on a feels trip today. So if you're not into a video where I talk about my feelings, then you might want to click off, okay? So in this video, I want to talk about the one night that I feel like really encompasses my whole mentality that I had when I was obese and when I was really overweight. So just to kind of set up where I was in my life, this is when I think I was like a senior in high school, maybe I had just graduated, but I was about like 17. I graduated when I was 17, so like 17 or 18 years old, and I was pretty heavy, right? A thing that me and my friends liked to do a lot was we would do these things called like movie nights, right? So we would go over to a friend's house, and it was like maybe about 7 or 8 of us, and we would all, you know, go watch a movie, hang out, and you know, do whatever. What ended up happening at most of these movie nights where they would turn into basically people like finding someone that they liked or thought was cute, and then they would, you know, hang out with them. So guys and girls, you know what I'm talking about. That's what would usually end up happening, right? And me being the bigger guy, I would always pretty much be left to do my own thing by myself, which was okay. It wasn't that big of a deal, but there was one particular night where it really got to me. So we ended up going and watching a movie, and then the thing that we did afterwards, which was ridiculous because we were in high school or after high school, was we decided we were gonna go play hide and seek, right? So we went and played hide and seek, and what ends up happening when we would do that was people would get in their groups, the, you know, guy with the girl, they would go hide and do the thing, and that's pretty much what it turned into. And I knew that was gonna happen going into this. So at all of these events, I guess you could call them, I always ended up feeling like I was totally left out, and like nobody wanted to really hang out with me. And I mean, these were my closest friends that I had. So I feel like I was definitely, like, in my own mind, way more negative than it really was. I definitely made it way worse than it really was as far as situation-wise goes. So we decided to go play hide and seek, right? So everyone goes out and they get into their little, you know, 2x2s, and I'm kind of left there just by myself. Now it's like dark, it's like late at night, it's like 1 in the morning, right? So where everyone's kind of doing their own thing, and I end up just walking around this block that we're on. I walked around it. I walked around it for maybe like an hour, 2 hours, something like that. It was crazy. The whole time I was walking around, I was just thinking, because I could see, you know, the people doing their things, and nothing crazy, but like, you know what I mean, talking and hanging out. And I just kept thinking, like, why can't I have that? Like, what is it about me that makes it so I can't enjoy those things? And now, when I was really overweight, I would get very negative on myself, and when I would start to get negative, I would just live in that moment. When I was like in a negative state of mind, I would let anything that was bothering me, anything maybe in the past months that was bothering me, kind of just flood into my head, and I would just let that overtake me, and I would think about every single negative thing that I had in my life up until that point. And it was crazy how much I could really make it seem like my life was this terrible thing, when in all reality, it wasn't that bad. But so I'm walking around, and people, they notice me, and you can tell I'm disturbed. Something's going on in my head, and I'm just walking around in circles and circles. And finally, a couple people tried to come up to me, and I was just like, I'm not gonna talk to you, because when I get like upset or sad or depressed, I just shut down. I don't get angry, I don't yell at people or get mad at people. I just kind of shut down. I don't talk to anyone anymore. It doesn't matter if you are trying to make me feel better. If you didn't do anything wrong to me, I will not talk to you. This hasn't happened for a while, but that's how it was. That's what I would do. That was my defense mechanism, I guess you could say. So I'm walking around, and finally, my best friend of all time comes up to me. His name's Nolan, and he stopped me, and I was like, no, I don't want to talk. He's like, John, you're stopping and you're gonna talk to me because I know something's going on and I want to know like what's wrong. And I remember I was just like, I don't want to talk, man. Like, please don't make me talk to you. I don't want to talk to you. Just let me keep walking around in circles and circles. He's like, I'm not gonna let you do that. Talk to me. What's going on? So we were talking and people started to kind of gather around. He was like, you guys, just let us talk. So I ended up talking to him, and like, what I basically tell him was like, I mean, it's just like so much, this sounds like I'm being a little baby, but all this like emotion just started coming out of me. Like, I was just like, dude, I don't understand what's wrong with me. And like, I don't know why can't I enjoy life? Like, cause I just felt like I was just existing in this life that everyone else was like living and having fun and doing all these things. And I was just kind of sitting there just watching that happen, watching that pass by. And I mean, come on, we're 17, 18. He didn't really know what to say. He was just trying to help me out. And then, so we're talking a little bit more, and then I literally started bawling my eyes out. Like, it was crazy. It was nuts. I've never done that before. I was just bawling, and I was like, I don't understand. Like, I'm sick of this. I'm so sick of feeling this way. This, I'm not living anymore. Like, I'm just existing, especially like after high school. I didn't know what I was gonna be doing. I just felt like, okay, now I'm done with that. What's next? Like, what should I be doing? I have no clue why I'm here. Like, there was all these people that seemed like we're having such a great time, and I was just there. Almost, it felt like in my mind, like just in the way, like being a hindrance to them having fun. Now, in reality, that's not what was happening. That's not the reality of the situation, but in my mind, that's what I thought, and that's where I lived. I let my mind control, I let the negative part of my mind control that whole situation and that whole day, that whole night. It was nuts. Looking back on it, I was in such a, it's like there was like wars going on in my mind, and that night, the dark part won, you know, the negative part won, and it was scary because the craziest thing about that, the craziest thing about that night is that I didn't change anything. Like, I knew the reason that I felt the way I did was because I felt like nobody wanted me because I was obese. Like, that, I knew that. But I knew the work that was gonna have to go in to changing that, and that scared me more than being in a negative state of mind. Before I was able to really change, I was so scared of the amount of work that I was gonna have to put in to not being obese anymore. It was crazy. I was so scared, and I knew what I needed to do. I knew what I needed to do, but I couldn't picture myself ever being where I am now. It didn't process. I couldn't process that. That didn't even go through my mind. And it's just crazy looking back on how I literally was crying, and they all started coming up, and I was like, you guys need to leave. Like, I can't be around this. I can't let you guys see me like this. And it was literally probably like one of the worst nights as far as my emotional, like my state of mind that I've ever experienced in my entire life. Like, I've talked about this, there's been times where I contemplated, you know, ending it, and that was definitely one of the nights where I was just like, I'm just in the way. I'm just like, there's nothing, there's nothing that I'm doing that's making these people's lives any better. I'm just in the way of them enjoying their time, which is not true. It wasn't true at all. It was not true, and that was just me being incredibly negative and just looking at any negative situation that I could pull from and make myself feel like this is a warranted feeling because all this negative stuff is going on in my life, when in all reality, they all cared for me tremendously, but they're just doing their own thing. There's nothing wrong with that, you know, that they're not gonna live their whole lives wondering if everything they're doing is okay with me. That's not how it works. But I just really wanted to share that story with you, and luckily I got out of that, and I'm stronger because of that situation, and I'm really happy that I went through that, because I've talked to people that have gone through the same thing as far as feeling like outcasts from their friends, and they think that they're in the way of the friendships and stuff, and I'm just like, you guys, you have to understand, if you're in someone's life, they probably want you to be in there, and if they're talking to you about maybe changing your life, they're probably doing that because they want to help you live a better life. But I just thought I would share that story with you guys. I really appreciate you guys coming and checking out this video. It was nice being able to talk to you guys one-on-one again. It's been a while, so thank you guys so much. I'm almost done with my oats and my coffee. I really appreciate all the support. You guys are absolutely amazing. There was one other thing that I wanted to say. Oh yeah, look how buff I am.